world changes soon. Can get a doobie on a plane, but there's Uzis in our schools. Every dude who touched a boob or a booty getting me too. What you expect from the kids who went to Hooters after school? We're all triggered and defensive. We're all racist and we're sexist. We all grew up watching South Park. How are we offended? Now being fat is beautiful. Name a thing that you can't do. Jumping jacks.
Welcome to the Red Pill Sports Entertainment Show. I am your host, Albert Apache, and as usual, brought to you by Open Source Self-Defense, Fitness, and Grappling. Okay, guys, first and foremost, let me tell you that we are recording outside. It is another beautiful day in the Valley of the Sun, and that being said, you may hear some birds chirping, dogs barking, cars going by, but I got to do what I got to do and enjoy these beautiful days while they last, because soon it will be like walking on the surface of the sun. Okay, guys, so today's show we're going to get into the Bryant shooting and some of the ridiculousness surrounding it and some of the ridiculous statements that are being made. Now, why does this pertain to jiu-jitsu and why is this red pill? Number one, it pertains to jiu-jitsu. Well, we're going to get into that. But number two, it is red pill because we're going to be looking at some very uncomfortable truths within our community. So before we get into the show, please like, subscribe, and comment down below whether you agree, you disagree, or you just see another angle in the story. Also, if you could share the video, that would be great. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and get into the show.
When we have to have conversations about who is murdered in the streets as a 16-year-old, regardless of what Ma'Khia Bryant may have been doing, there is no justification for taking her life without attempting some form of intervention. As a 16-year-old, regardless of what Ma'Khia Bryant may have been doing, there is no justification for taking her life without attempting some form of intervention. There is no justification for taking her life without attempting some form of intervention. Without attempting some form of intervention.
Now, allow me to please be clear. I am no fan of Stacey Abrams. I believe that she says very racially charged statements purposefully. I think she is a race hustler and a race baiter. And I do not agree with 90% of her politics. Now, that being said, the big uncomfortable truth that we have to face as the jiu-jitsu community is that we are part of the legitimate combat arts that trains, right? Amongst those, let's say, would be also boxing, wrestling, Muay Thai, kickboxing, judo, things of that nature. Okay, we know that we are legitimate combat training arts. And every time we don't call out the kind of craziness, the kind of ridiculous notions that some of these quote unquote reality-based what could you say? Reality-based peddlers, right? These con men that say that they can teach you how to knife fight in minutes, that it's just a few techniques and you'll go from this, and this, and it's non-traditional. And so we cut out all the BS and you will be tactical fight ready in just this 1 2-hour seminar for a mere $199 or whatever other BS they want to sell you. Okay, we as part of the community that trains legitimate martial arts, legitimate combat arts, okay, we need to speak up against these type of guys, because this is one of the reasons why people like Stacey Abrams are able to say what she's saying. Because if you take a look at Stacey Abrams, most likely she's never trained a legitimate combat art in her life, but she doesn't know. I mean, I'm going to give her the benefit doubt in this particular situation. She has no idea whether or not these disarms are legitimate or not legitimate, what she sees is two guys training, and she probably thinks, well, why don't our police officer train like that? Okay. People have no idea. The reality is, if you get into a knife fight, you're going to get cut and you're going to get stabbed, and that's the end of it. That's the end of the story, okay? And when you're being attacked with a knife, it's not a knife fight, it's a knife attack, okay? Somebody is trying to attack you with a knife. And so, personally, I'm taking this very, very personally, that people would say these things, okay? That people would say that this officer should have disarmed this 16 or 17, I can't remember what they ended up settling on, 16-year-old female. We'll go with that. That 16-year-old female looked to be at least about 5'5", 5'7", okay? And she looked like she was pushing 200 pounds. Now, just the mere size of her wielding a knife makes her a legitimate threat, whether or not you are a man or whether or not you're a woman. And the fact that there are still people in the media, okay, in politics, in the general population that believe the malarkey, the charlatans that come out and tell people that disarming somebody with a knife is a legitimate tactic, and it's a legitimate first response tactic. Not even as a last resort. They not even trying to say that, oh, this is a skill that you should pick up as a last resort. Okay? Not saying that. Like making it sound as if this is a first option that you can go to. Means that we, as the combat sports community, have failed. As much progress as that has been made by MMA to show exactly how unrealistic 90% of the quote-unquote reality-based and traditional martial arts really is, even with all of the progress that we have made. Clearly, it has not been enough, because there is still people that believe these fraudulent claims. And so I'm reaching out to the rest of you, jiu-jitsu community, the rest of you Muay Thai fighters, boxers. It's time to expose these people for what they are. They are frauds. They are charlatans. Look, here's the long and short of it. If you can't deal with or stop a guy from punching you in the face, or punching you in the chest, or punching you in the belly, you can't stop a guy from stabbing you in the face, stabbing you in the chest, or stabbing you in the belly. If you cannot stop somebody's fist from making forceful contact, if you're a third party, okay, like the officer was, if you're a third party, if you cannot stop somebody's fist from forcefully making contact with another human being, that means you cannot stop them from stabbing that person. Okay? And to say that that should be a first response is absolutely ludicrous, and it has absolutely no merit. And so I say to us as the combat sport community, it really is time for us to start calling out these charlatans. It really is. I mean, this is getting unreal. It's getting unreal. And I didn't want to mention Jake Paul. I really didn't want to mention this guy and talk about him, because we all know he's a charlatan. Okay? We all know he's fake, because he's not willing to fight actual, amateur boxers who have been trying. And he goes out there and he wants to call out Dana White. And, don't get me wrong, I believe, what he said about Dana White as far as Dana should pay his fighters better. I agree with that. That being said, it was a self-serving comment, because if this guy really cared, if he really cared about fighter pay, he wouldn't be using his fame to jump the line to make money. If this guy really cared, he would give some amateur fighter a shot by using Jake Paul's platform and giving him a shot to make a good payday by knocking Jake Paul the hell out. That's the reality. That's the reality. If Jake Paul really cared, that's what would actually happen. He would give some unknown amateur fighter a shot as they break into their professional career. But again, here we have it, yet another charlatan, another fraud. Okay, at least he trains boxing. I'll give him that. At least he actually trains boxing. Okay, but I know plenty of boxers that laugh at this guy. Plenty of actual boxers that put in their time in the gym that laugh at this guy. Okay, they watch him box. They've watched his boxing matches, and they're like, this is a joke. I can't believe this guy is getting paid. And they know the only reason why he's getting paid is because he had a platform to launch off of. So the reality is that, check it out, man. Between Jake Paul and between the reality-based, training guys that are out there, this needs to be called out, and it's on us. It is on us as the legitimate combat sport athletes that train. And I'm talking to even those of you, not the professionals, because I think the professionals do a really good job of speaking up about it. I'm talking to you, the hobbyist guys, right? The guy who's been boxing for, 10 years or something. You're never going to go pro, but you enjoy boxing. You enjoy doing that. You've been rolling jiu-jitsu 10 years. You got your black belt. You love it, And then you got this reality-based guy that comes in and he starts talking his smack. And because you are so humble and you could choke this guy out, you let him go ahead and talk. And he talks about how he's taking on 3, 4, 5 guys at a time. One time in this knife fight, and the guy did this and I countered like that and blah, blah. No, you didn't, bro. It really is time for us to speak up and just be like, no, you didn't. I'm calling bullshit. I'm calling absolute bullshit. And when they try to talk their smack about, too dangerous for the cage. My techniques are too dangerous for the cage. Really, bro, if you were that good, if you were that awesome, you would have the control to not worry about hurting your student, right? 3rd, 4th, 5th degree black belts in jiu-jitsu, they never have techniques. You ever notice they don't have techniques that are quote unquote too dangerous? You ever notice you never hear Nicky Ryan, you never hear Gordon Ryan, you never hear Craig Jones when they go and roll with other people at other gyms and they have some fun rolls and some fans get some rolls in at other gyms. You never hear about how their techniques are quote unquote too dangerous for the average guy. No, because they have that much control because they really are that good. You never hear about, the upper level boxer, Golden Glove, that goes, oh man, I can't box the newbie guy I can't spar with the newbie guy coming into the gym because I'm too quote unquote dangerous for him. No, he has enough control. He knows how to tone it down. He knows how to put the guy in check if he gets a little bit wild, right? This is how it goes. And those of us who train actual combat sports, we know these things, and it's up to us, those of us particularly that are the amateur, that are the quote-unquote hobbyist, okay? It's up to us to start calling out this BS because it's absolutely unacceptable. It's absolutely unacceptable that this is still believed, so much so that a major public political figure can go on a national televised news program and say something that I believe she was being genuinely earnest about and say he should have done some other kind of intervention. What exactly? What exactly intervention does she think? And how does she think these things work? How does she think these tools work? It's utterly ridiculous, guys. It really is. And so I'm calling on you guys to make sure if you train jiu-jitsu, if you train wrestling, if you train no-gi grappling, if you train Muay Thai, I'm asking you guys, man, please next time one of these reality-based jackasses, right, the quote-unquote too dangerous for the cage guys, runs his mouth, call him out on it. Call him out in front of everybody he's talking to and just say bullshit. I'm sorry, I'm calling bullshit. How did you pressure test that? Have you ever done it in a live fight? Then how do you know it works? Have you ever done it against live resistance? Then how do you know it works? The reality is they don't know that it works. That's the reality. The reality is they have no idea whether or not it works. And of course they'll, oh, I don't want to hurt you and blah, blah, blah. All the BS excuses that I've heard before, because guess what? I trained with guys who said that kind of stuff. I did a lot of hopping around in martial arts when I was a young man because, I wanted to find something that was really, that was real. And, at first I thought I had, and then it got a little watered down, but then I found jiu-jitsu. And all that being said, jiu-jitsu, do not let it happen to you guys. Be the gatekeepers, guys. Be the gatekeepers. It's okay to just smash somebody. If their jiu-jitsu can't work against heavy pressure, then it's not real jiu-jitsu. And if their jiu-jitsu can't work against speed, strength, flexibility, then it's not real jiu-jitsu. Right? Okay, guys. That's what I got, man. Sorry, I know I might have sounded preachy today, but I just had to get that out, man. I just had to get that out because it really did bother me that you have this major public official, even though, like I said, I don't necessarily agree with her politics, but I believe she was being earnest, and it's ridiculous that there are still people who believe that nonsense. Okay, guys, that's what we got for today's show. Like I said, we're going to be doing smaller segments, try to put out more segments per week. I hope you guys enjoyed. Remember, hit the like button, subscribe, comment down below if you agree, disagree, saw a different angle. Share the video if you can. Remember, be practical, be purposeful, get fit with a purpose, guys.
We all grew up watching South Park. How are we offended? Now being fat is beautiful. Name a thing that you can't do. Jumping jacks, run a mile, live past 42. Man, it used to be cool to just flip a bird to the system, and now it's trendy to be triggered and pretend you're a victim. It's my race, it's my weight, it's because I'm a Christian. I hate the internet and anyone who has an opinion. And everybody angry if you say white. Okay, fine. Pass me the brush and I'll paint my face to the shades right. Let's talk about abortion. Sorry, tell me how this works. Bacteria is life on Mars, but a heartbeat isn't life on Earth? Weird.